So for safety reasons, the first thing that we need to do is remove rings. And if you have earrings as well, remove them. Any long hair, please, in a ponytail, so it's safe, you don't get cut. And we can continue. So this is the technical drawing that I prepared for you. And you can find, general dimensions. This is the top view, front view, and lateral view. So if you analyze it for a little bit, you will see that there are some interesting characteristics, but it's pretty simple volume. I guess the main characteristic that is not ordinary is that this is the front side, the front part, and it's slightly smaller than the back part. So you can see these two curves that are opening to the rear. One of the benefits of making your foam in the box is that all its sides are 90 degrees. So in this case, what I'm doing is I'm just tracing the thickness of the block that I want to cut using the table and my ruler, and I'm getting directly 90 degrees, 90 degree lines. So all lines will be parallel. So it will be not only precise, but it will be also easier to cut. For cutting is obviously very soft. Foam is very soft, so you don't have to put too much pressure. What you need to do is just follow the line, go slow, and be sure to be cutting 90 degrees as you trace on your line. So turn your foam, cut through the lines, and leave the inner part to the last. With that block that I just cut, what I'm doing now is I'm creating a block which gets me closer to the volume that I need. Again, cutting is super simple. Just follow your lines, go slow. Don't forget to trace the front and the back so you keep control of your shape. So I trace my center line, and I'm checking that all the sides of this block are 90 degrees. That is very, very important to get a piece, an object, the model that is all in the correct measurements. And now I'm using the template to trace the shape of the volume that I want to cut. Don't forget to trace the center line all around your object using same method.
In order to make the first cut, what I'm doing is just tracing a straight line in an angle that will allow me to approach the block to the curve that I want to make. So this straight line will create another couple of lines, as you see here. I'm going to use these two lines to cut straight. This is the end result. These are the cuts that I need to do first. So straight lines and these other guiding lines. And what I'm using here is handsaw. Is very soft. Foam is very soft, so this will be enough. This is a precision work, so use both hands to be sure that the saw is going where you want it. And just go slow, okay? Don't go fast. Now, using my sandpaper in the block of wood, all I need to do is finish rounding until I get into the line trace with the template. So remember, go slow and check the top and the bottom of your volume. You have traced the shape on both sides, so you don't get the wrong volume. No, you get it straight. Once you get the main curves in position, the main surfaces that I'm sanding here, you can also get close to on the sides. The issue here is that it's a concave surface. So I'm just making an approximation, and then what I'm doing now is an angle. These two lines are important to keep parallel, because that will allow you to know that it's sanded in a 90 degrees according to your base. So be sure to keep those two lines parallel, and don't go too fast.
Sometimes you need to sand by hand really large areas, and in order to ensure that you are getting a flat surface or a continuous surface, you need to use a piece of wood. One way of doing this is by simply gluing the piece of sandpaper to the wood. Obviously, after a while, the sandpaper will run out of the texture, so you will have to change it. There are different ways of gluing it. Can be double side tape, could be simply wood glue. Double side tape is the most efficient and common one, as far as I know. But once you have, this one has no texture anymore. So you can also take a new piece of sandpaper, just like this, and by just placing the wood on top and bending the sandpaper like this, you still have traction and a fairly good flat surface to work with. So this can work as well.
So now I need to sand the convex sides, and for that you can do a roll with your sandpaper. And remember, when you roll the paper on one side or the other, the roll will get bigger or smaller. In the shop we have this wonderful machine that is perfect for these type of surfaces.
So what is next is rounding these edges. So the rule normally is that you start with the largest radius and you work your way towards the smallest radius. So we should start with this one, which is the largest, 23 millimeters. We already did this one because it's part of the shape, top view that we started with, but the rest is just basically radius. And the last one will be the one on the front. It's radius 5, which will be all around. But there is a little rule that I want to show you. It's a little trick to make these rounds very fast and very precise as well. So above all, precise. So imagine that you have this angle, no, this block of material, and you want to create this round. So this round, this arc starts here and here. This is the centrum of this arc. So the first thing that we need to do is, in our blueprints, draw a 45-degree line touching the arc at this point. So right now I'm just imagining this is 45. You will have to use a ruler to be precise. But what this will do is that will give you this intersection, these points here. So the first bit is to trace this line and measure from the edge of your material, of your block, to this distance. Should be the same here and here. So let's call it X and X. So you measure that in your material, you trace it all along the edge, and then you flatten this surface. You create this flat surface that will be touching the center of your arc. In that way you will have two lines, and if you have these two lines, these two edges parallel, you know that the radius is going to be the same all along. If the radius, if these two edges, or the distance between these 2 points, grows or becomes smaller, then you know that it's not as precise. So if it's small, you just have to sand it more until you get the distance. If you went over, well, that's it, because you don't have the chance to add material. Depending on the technique you're using, you may. But that's the first step, getting this distance and getting rid of this first part. Once you have that, the rest is very easy, because you just need to trace where the arc is going to end and start, like these 2 points. You already have the center point here, and then you just sand off using basically the movement of your wrist, the natural movement of your hand, to get rid of these 2 corners, this one and this other one. So if you make the first step, this 45-degree angle surface, you do it precise, this second step is very easy. Okay.
So I have traced here the dimensions that I mentioned just a moment ago, the lines, the angle, the 45 degrees that we need to follow, and I'm going to use this tool that has 2 different roughness, and one side is flat and the other side is round. And again, this material is very soft, so don't put too much pressure. Now here I have traced the other lines that will finish my radius. You can see the beginning and the end. I'm just tracing here the whole radius so you can see it. Important, the center line and the edge of that radius, those lines, you should not lose them. If you sand and these go away, that means that you are just sanding too much. The file may be too rough, too strong to do this job, so using a sandpaper for this last step may be a wiser thing to do. The last bit will be to round the last edge. I trace the lines that gives the same approach, the 45-degree angle. Just follow these two lines in a flat using your file. And then the last part will be just rounding with your sandpaper. But remember, first is 45 degrees. Remember to be precise. So we finish. The main volume of the alarm clock is made. It follows perfectly the template that we cut. So it's ready for following steps if we want to.